Yeah.
Ding dong.
How will you fucking stop?
First of all, don't tell me what to do.
I am ready.
That's right, infidels. You wanted to weaponize your comedy? You wanted the court jester to be on the battlefield? Well, it's time to die, clowns. Because now the power is back, and you've been crushed, you pathetic weapons. Here it is, the Real Man Show with MSG, Hacker Hameen, and all the girls on trampolines. Ziggy Zaggy, oi, oi, oi. Oh, what is good, you guys? What is good? Good morning here on the Ultra Kayfabe early morning taping of the Friday Locker Room here on Hameen Media.
Group.
Yeah, you know what's up. So hopefully you guys are having a good week as we barrel through September already, man. I can't believe we're in today's the 18th, and just seems like flying right by. And that's what trauma-based mind control will do to you. So we're going to break it all down today as another shot was proverbially fired. We've had a lot of real ones fired lately, but enough for the water cooler talk to wipe away the memory of Raja Jackson's assault, I guess, is if anybody can take solace in all the madness in the last 2 weeks, it's probably Rampage and Raja Jackson being out of the news cycle. But speaking of the news cycle, he is the man on the street who's got all the heat. It's MSG back in the studio. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing good. It's another fantastic Thursday here in the Northeast. Finally getting some better weather this week.
Yeah.
It's a nice cool
It's been beautiful all week. This is how I like it. Sunshine, 68 degrees, nice breeze, nice sunsets. Yeah.
Yeah, take it for what we can until we get the brutal weather again.
Until you get fucking murked. Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah.
So we lock down again with more COVID.
Yeah, it's coming, baby. It's coming. And this time that will be National Guardsmen in place in order to make sure you follow the rules accordingly. So, yeah, man, it's a hot button morning, and everybody in the Twitter feed doing their Orwell 2 minutes of hate over last night's or yesterday's decision to pull Jimmy Kimmel after in his monologue. He references Charlie Kirk, but tries to, I don't know what the kids say, gaslight it in a certain way to have the heat on the right, I guess. And to me, it's not like he's going out there going into business for himself. This is a bunch of LA, Chicago, New York writers who are trying to get their shit in while people are being fired from their jobs for their online ridiculous posting and don't know when to shut the fuck up and shut the fuck up. And he should too. A guy in his position should be a unifier and a healer. Instead, this guy has obviously been a sellout since, I don't know, whenever he took that show over, because you go from the man show to and having girls show their crotch, jumping on trampolines. Guys we're doing scenes about huge racks and standing on your head drinking beers and everything testosterone, to Sarah Silverman handler puppet. And just doing whatever the network tells you to spread for a woke movement for the last decade. Really a complete 180-degree reversal of what brought you to the dance and what your fan base was. And now you're going to go, oh my God, why am I being canceled, when you're as transparent as fucking, well, I was going to say the Epstein files. That's not pretty transparent, but you're the opposite of that. Like you have no moral ground to stand on. Not that, making sexual advances on, probably some of those girls on trampolines were Epstein fucking victims. I would lay money down, to be honest with you, to interact like that. And then to come off like you are Johnny Carson and doing what, like, you're America's voice at the time. It's just everything that sucks about Hollywood and the fake carny business we're in, So should he be pulled from it? Yeah, this is a long time coming. This is bigger. This is just a flashpoint excuse. There's a huge $6 billion deal going down between Tenga and that parent company, NBC, I believe. And nobody wants that Charlie Kirk heat right now in their books. That could really mess with the stock price. Yeah. So it's easy to throw him on the fire, much like Colbert. And I'm in a weird spot with this because a lot of my mentors work for these shows and you might see them in little sketches on Conan O'Brien or things like that, but they're better performers than Kimmel and Conan, like they use a Jack McBrayer from 30 Rock, I've seen his best stuff, and you can't even feature that guy properly of how talented he is. Really Triumph the Insult Comic Dog was the best thing ever, for Chicago comedy and him. But they don't want to walk the middle, which is what the comedian's job is. I've said this before. You have to punch both sides equally. You have to bring light to topics. People are coming to you to escape the news cycle, to see you sarcastically mock the ridiculousness of the human condition and living in these digital times and provide escapism. Instead, you wanted to be a soldier on the front line and act like you were smarter than everybody else. And you're going to be the propaganda wing that serves up the jagged little pill with a spoonful of wink, wink comedy, mainstream fucking comedy sugar. Nope. That's why when you can't go, when Colbert's holding 2 fucking syringes during COVID and squirting them in the air and becomes a meme off that, or is dancing with hypodermic needles, or you're saying people don't deserve certain inalienable rights because they don't fit this narrative you're pushing from the darkest parts of our government through you. When it's nut cutting time and the sword swings back, and who do you think it's going to be pointed at? You're easy. You're jesters. Then they play like, I'm just the fool. Don't kill me. Nah, dude. You're the one who came on the fucking battlefield. You should have been sitting high up on the hill doing what a fool does, making fun and pointing things out. Instead, you wanted to be right in the fucking thick of it. And now you took a hard shot. I hope that I'm sure they'll give him a nice departing package, because he's been a propaganda master for them for the last 6 years. But I have no empathy for him. I lost all respect for him just from when he went mainstream and acted like the Man Show didn't happen, and then you saw who he was in synagogue with, and it was all over after that. So good riddance. I think most of those late night shows, going back to Leno and Carson, I thought they sucked. I like the little David Letterman. Conan O'Brien, after he got fired and went on his own, was a lot better. Went like it was kind of cuffs off. But most of the time, all these late night things are just Americana water cooler talk for a shit conversation that should be. I mean, there was no internet Carson time in early Leno, but that is your internet podcast time. And it's watered down into a 4-minute segment to 8-minute segment, but it doesn't matter. All those conversations were so surface level, just Hollywood yuck bullshit. I'm glad they're gone. I'm not happy that my mentors and other colleagues from Chicago comedy are going to be looking for a job, but guess what? I also watched them destroy Chicago comedy during Black Lives Matter and the woke movement, because they thought that type of behavior was going to get them jobs on Kimmel and on Saturday night. And it did. It absolutely did. I'm not saying it didn't. But that is a short shelf life. Instead of being in the middle, the sword misses you, and now you can poke the other side and keep going and being the voice of the people and making light of situations. So they wanted it in Chicago to be that way, and now really their entire foundation to me is crippled, and I don't know if it'll ever come back at Second City and IO how it was. Even for Austin to become the comedy capital or whatever it is, and that's like a weird amateur pro boys club where everyone's just trying to suck off Rogan and get some CIA money, and that's working too as well. But the fact of trying to hold integrity and stick to what brought you to the dance and your love for it, they just sold out, man. And I have no love lost for Jimmy Kimmel or anybody like that.
So for those who missed it, during his Monday, September 15th episode monologue, he said, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. Utah prosecutors have since charged the individual with aggravated murder, felony discharge of firearm, obstruction of justice, and witness." And Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, said, "This is a very, very serious issue right now for Disney. We can do things the easy way or the hard way. Disney needs to see some change here, but the individual licensed stations that are taking their content, it's time for them to step up and say this. Garbage to the extent that what comes down the pipe in the future isn't something we think serves the needs of our local community." So essentially what it really happened is Nexstar Sinclair first pulled all the content. They basically said, we're going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel, which then forced ABC to pull the show off the air as well.
Yeah, and nobody will miss it. Nobody's talking every day about Kimmel, what happened, how great it was last night. It's a filler, and he's way overpriced, and they may want to do this as a misdirection spot. Like maybe he was on his way out anyway, and they just are making him take a bullet so they can control the narrative. But like I said, he has an entire writing staff, and that got through the censors as everything has to be approved, So that means your upper level management who are running and overlooking that show, the writers and the host all colluded to make a bad choice. They and what is it really? Sure, they want the Nexstar Tenga deal, but and they're acting like this is we're in a new direction. Disney isn't doing woke witches in Star Wars, lesbian witches in Star Wars, and we've let those woke hires go who didn't, and now we're swinging back to testosterone because we need that money. They don't have any allegiance. They fucking move whichever way the populace moves to try and shake more money out of you, dude. So their excuse of it's just a way we're moving and he needs to be out of here for right now, that's because they've watched people all week long who are just regular lefty idiots who posted in their timeline thinking there was going to be no repercussions, get doxxed and get fired from their job, hundreds of them. And I'm sure many of those videos are fake just for clicks, and that's smart in today's rage-based society. But the fact is they see that and they think that's the influence. So somebody on the higher up also has to be gone. So why are you even saying Charlie Kirk's name if you're in a high level place, aside from a note attached to it to be, I know that I've been political in the past. I know I may not agree with our current president, but I think as Americans, we can all agree that this is a step way too far. Like a unifier, right? And break the jester comedy role, or even quote Bob Marley, how long will they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. We talked this last week of while we're in shock mode from these things, and are we ever gonna? And I said, are we gonna, Matt? Like, is this not the human condition to have a subservient slave race, even if we're not shackled digging for gold, that we're shackled by our media, we're shackled by our taxes, we're shackled so many ways, and that we've been killing our prophets for hundreds of thousands of years, going back to old Jesus and probably before him many others.
Yeah,
get me old Jesus, get me Tangus. This just seems to be the part of the stupid monkey brain that I don't know will ever leave will allow us to advance as a civilization. It just seems it's hard coded in our DNA to do these strange shifts, bro. And even though I wasn't alive during JFK, that was the last one. Then it shifts back again, and then it shifts through Reagan, and then new world order. And I don't know, bro. It's just I think there's going to be more of these things. If I was on TV or even had any production, it'd be a no Charlie Kirk mention just for the risk of reprisal. You know
That's what I
mean?
was going to bring up is what are your thoughts on over the last week we've seen all these individuals come out, speak out about Charlie Kirk, and it's turned into a system of individuals who are now getting these individuals fired from their jobs. So like, you know, we took away somebody's ability to have free speech, and then now in turn everybody is taking your free speech away.
Yeah, well, that's retribution, right? And I don't think anybody's free speech should be taken away, but there are consequences for the things
right.
you say. So, and right, and I say silly shit on here all the time, and even as wrestling, and people fucking go crazy over some phony ass wrestling because that's their escapism from the prison planet that they live in. And if you fuck with that, then now you're really, what the fuck does he know? You know. But yeah, that's where I would stay away from Charlie Kirk's name, and that sucks because we should be talking about. So now, out of fear of reprisal, you are changing speech and making people fearful of what they're putting out there, or making them think twice, or they're internalizing that, and that's terrible too. You know, but
Yeah.
this is the epitome of the paranoia of 1984. Of, you know,
Yeah.
they will unperson you. This is as Orwellian as it gets, an opposite of what Charlie Kirk's MO would be in having a conversation. So out of the populist 85 who don't got a clue are now doxing people because the same shit happened because they did it. They started it. Like, you know, I don't want to take it to the mat at that level, but during BLM and all that shit, they were doxing the people and getting them fired and trying to do it. Now, when it comes back, they get the chance to do what they love the most, which is play the fucking crybaby victim. Oh, whoa, look at me, and da 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 da. When they thought they were in a safe zone, right, and of their own, and then their life gets turned upside down because they got fired from Cold Stone or whatever the fuck, you know, whoever would hire them with 4 nose rings and rainbow colored hair, because I won't hire any more people like that at my shop, to be honest with you. And it's not like I have any bias against. I just always
I was gonna dye my hair rainbow color.
The four I've had all end up being fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It's just like, that's a red flag to me as an employer right now, because they could go online, do some shit, and somebody's doxing Ravens joint.
Right.
You know, like, can't have it. You have to be professional. You don't just get to live my truth at Starbucks. Your ass is gonna fucking be gone, right? But then you'll go home and get your clicks over
TikTok,
it. So,
and
yeah. And then it will go on, and they'll never learn of why we need to be in the middle and in unity, as opposed to extreme throat cutting on left and right sides.
In this media landscape where there's always something happening on a day-to-day basis, why do you think right now Charlie Kirk's death has had so much staying power over the last week? Why do you think the news cycle hasn't washed this out?
Trauma. You just saw a guy get fucking popped in the neck, bro. Like, remember back in like the 90s, like, not that I was out looking for it, but to find like somebody getting snuffed on camera was like, kid hit by a train, and people would see it in the early days of the internet. Like, maybe 1 or 2 videos existed, you know?
Yeah.
You just saw in real time a JFK assassination. No Zapruder film, no fucking Abraham Lincoln's at the theater, and you get a drawing of what it looked like. You know what I mean? This is trauma, and it's ingrained in people's head. And 9/11 was probably, well, I'd probably say Oklahoma City bombing might be one of the first real time trauma, watch it unfold and happen, you know,
yeah,
from ground zero. and then reinforced with 9/11 and plenty of shock and awe campaigns in the early days of the war. You're watching it like it's a fucking 4th of July fireworks show, but really we're eliminating thousands of lives in a like that, like. So now that's going to stick with people, like to say, well, how far can we push it? And even with, they've been doing this. If you believe in all the mass shootings of what the official stories are, good for you. I don't. And they've ratcheted it up. It starts at a high school. It goes to a concert. It goes back to a fucking middle school. It goes all the way to the unfathomable elementary school. That wasn't enough. Movie theater. You can't go anywhere. Prison planet. Fear, 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 fear. Right? So that's why Netflix and all that shit probably took off to the nth degree to keep you inside of your little pod and not be out interacting, which is part of human nature, and that's why so many people need antidepressants and they control all this shit, bro. Like there's all fallouts of ways for them to make money off of panic culture. So sorry if did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's just something that I've noticed that, even after a week, it's still up in the timeline. If you open up Twitter, it's still being talked about.
So is JFK and 9/11, and I put this assassination on par with both of those events.
Okay.
For the trauma and the imprint on the global soul of humanity. Like you go by a car wreck, you don't want to look away. Like everybody has seen, and that footage will be studied, much like how many times I've seen the Zapruder film, and that was fucking 14 years before I was born. So it'll be this for them.
Okay. Well, I guess it remains to be seen how much longer people continue to not take the hint that you probably shouldn't badmouth Charlie Kirk right now, because if you do, you're gonna get doxxed and you're potentially gonna lose your job.
There's something else way bigger going on, with the Israel connection and all that, and Candace Owens is going off, and then people are asking me why Charlie Kirk's wife has a Freemason ring, and if you look into Charlie Kirk's wife being a model that was in the Trump beauty pageants, and that she was comes from a pretty wealthy family to start with, and then was introduced to Kirk through that, and then it seems like she is part of maybe even a bigger op. Like I know people tried to paint it that way. It's just the facts are interesting. As far as that goes, because they're trying to get her for a vice president run, and then, which I think she'll do, and make it. There's a lot of weird stuff that is Freemason related, IDF Israel related, where they've tried to buy Charlie Kirk out. We saw them; they were bragging about bringing 10 influencers to Israel, and they're all making these videos that are anti-Hamas and trying to dispel, they're starving them, and like guys are walking through in Israel, giant stacked food pallets and all that shit. See there, that's a lie. That's a lie. I'm like, well, why are these food pallets here? Why aren't they dropping them? That'd be more convincing. So we're watching as Obama allowed it and took the law away. We're being propagandized to, and they're paying them openly. And that they were going to pay Charlie Kirk probably a very hefty sum of money, is what Candace Owens alludes to in some Westchester meeting where they cornered him, and that there's text messages to back it up. And now the guy's dead because he said no to taking their blood money and is trying to actually do what the purpose of life is, which was unify people. And that's the last thing that the Israelis want, is someone to go, well, let me look into what the numbers were from the basis of your victimhood of the argument of the Holocaust. No, we don't do that. We need you with the picture by the shoes. And, and it just spins and spins, and they start saying Nazi and throwing these words around. But how many times are you going to keep getting beat with that stick? Like everybody knows, like, okay, something happened. But now if the numbers are lying, then what else are you lying to me about? Like, that's what they don't want, is anybody to open that can of worms. So either play along and become a propaganda agent and get into the heads of these teenagers on college campuses for us and make hundreds of millions of dollars, or it's a fucking cold night in Newark, you know? So that's the weird part of this. And then people are pointing out, even in Candace Owens' thing, she said she's a Mason, a black woman Freemason. I didn't think women were allowed to be Masons. And also African Americans are Prince Hall Masons, but there's pictures of both her and Charlie in MAGA hats doing Freemason hand symbols sitting next to each other. So
get me Bobo.
Yeah. So there's a lot underneath the surface that's a lot more than he was a young white man with a beautiful wife and 2 kids and some whatever you want him to be this week. He's got a trans boyfriend, but he's MAGA. And like you don't know, right? Like you don't know any of that of what they try and paint him as, because the story changes in the first 72 hours 8 different ways by design. So you can pick your poison of what hate you want to put on the shooter that fits your fucking ecosystem. So that there is some weird. Is this a bigger part of Zionists versus Freemasons in the battle for the integrity of the future of America, and that AIPAC has their hands in all this? And I talked in length yesterday on Master Shoot. I thought a really great Master Shoot yesterday. They're always fun, but Vince wanted to know my opinion as a rifleman, as a hunter, on what a 30-06 round looks like, hitting something, exit wound. Does that line up? My dad shot 30-06 my whole life. It's a big caliber fucking bullet that can take down elk and probably moose. I might go a little bit bigger, not 6 for moose, but like, it's a fucking bigger than a sniper round. I shoot 308, which is mainly a sniper round, a little bit lighter, but the knockdown power of a 30-06 and the fucking explosive fucking hit when it hits something like that. There's plenty on Mythbusters or whatever the fuck it is, Discovery videos. Go watch one tune up a watermelon and see how violent the exit wound is, especially at 200 yards would be peak velocity for that round, traveling at probably about 2,200 feet per second, 2,400 if you're using plus P ammunition. Then this guy who's an ex-military dude goes, here's where I'm just going to go through the logistics. They said they found a screwdriver. They found Cash Patel's out there fucking saying he found the screwdriver, and they found the fucking towel. And then they sent the gun to Maryland to a different shop. So where apparently FBI does their look over. But this military guy goes, here's what's weird. And he's got his sniper rifle. I think he's got 308. He goes, this is how fast it takes to break it down, and with a screwdriver and Allen wrench. And I know what it is, having cleaned rifles, that it's not break it down, put it in a backpack, run across the top, scale down. Nope. You got to unscrew it with a fucking Phillips head, take the barrel off, then unscrew the thumb screws with a hex key or whatever you want to call it, Allen key, to get the scope off. Then you have 3 pieces now: scope, barrel with the trigger that's attached to it, and the stock. Then put those in the backpack. Nope, doesn't fit in the backpack. They're about fucking 9 inches out of the top of the backpack. What do we see this kid? Oh, this is the alleged shooter, a guy who looks like him, probably isn't even him. A backpack fully zipped up, and that the gun they found has a synthetic stock. You can go right down to Runnings or whatever, Dick's Sporting Goods, if they have a gun section there, and buy that same. It looked like a Savage well, they said 30-06. It looked like a 308 to me, but a 30-06 for probably around $400, and then another $190 for that scope that was on top of it. But that stock is a one-piece synthetic. It doesn't fold or anything like that. So it would have been sticking out of the top of that backpack. So just in logistics and how people who know rifles, know hunting, and the other part of that too is he would have had to sneak it in there, get on the roof, put it all back together and got one shot. When you put a gun back together, it doesn't just go, I'm aligned, sights are aligned, good to fucking go. You had me in a backpack rattling around. Oh, sure, you can hit a fucking 200-yard shot like that. These things just don't make sense if you've ever been a hunter, a rifleman, or dealt with firearms in any way in a respectable, honest level. And I saw some other, quick videos of Army snipers saying, I could have made that shot. I shoot 1,600 yards, 200 yards with open sights. I can make it. I believe that sniper can. I don't believe a fucking college kid who got dad's deer rifle can disassemble it, assemble it on a roof, take one shot from an elevated 200-yard position, score within a fucking 6-inch radius of his hit point, which if he was aiming here and it ricocheted here and went that way, and I don't believe that story either from a 30-06, because dude, when a 30-06 hits you at max velocity, if you're a deer, that deer goes poof, over. Charlie Kirk's holding on to the fucking mic while it just doesn't look right to me, dude. And especially when you go to the logistics of what it takes to break down an OT-6, get down off the roof, and then the CCTV pictures that were the first things released of that shooter, and the backpack's full, but the barrel and the fucking stock aren't sticking out of the top, were bullshit. And now, if that's bullshit to me, then the rest of it, like anything you tell me afterwards, is nothing more than set up propaganda from an inside deep state war. And it does that lead as far as just the Clinton camp and trying to upset things, or does this really go to a fucking Mossad assassination on American soil? And what does that mean? Like, nobody wants to truly address it. And then you have Candace Owens over here saying that's exactly what it is. And they're trying to take over his spot and the work he did so they can put their propaganda in and use Turning Point USA as a vehicle to mind bend, because the last thing they want is left and right having a conversation in the middle and trying to come to some form of, okay, we agree to disagree. Nope. They want hatred, vileness, and fucking death to each other to keep them separated. And that's these videos of the logistics, to me, after I had a conversation telling Vince all this yesterday, this morning I wake up and there's a trained Army Ranger saying the exact fucking same shit I said yesterday on Master Shoot Theater. And that's just growing up around hunting,
Yeah. Sticking with the Charlie Kirk stuff, Kevin Nash says, well, ABC Network, your programming will not be viewed in my home. I guess freedom of speech doesn't exist at your network. In times like this, America looks for a spine. I'll wait and see where Jimmy Kimmel lands. Pathetic.
He'll land on a shitty podcast that will be promoted by whatever woke corporation he's still collecting a check from that they can. And this is the other part of that where I will go to bat for Jimmy Kimmel. Especially with what we do here and the things I say, they definitely don't reflect ESPN or anybody who works for ESPN's views. Is that I think all speech, no matter how radical, should be fucking able to be said. And it's, do you want to say it in public, and you get to deal with the reprisal of it? Should the reprisal be you're canceled and lose your job? If you're representing a brand, maybe so. If you are confident in your beliefs and your job is not paramount to you of where that you define yourself and that belief is, then speak it. And people are like, well, there's a difference between freedom of speech and hate speech. No, there's not. Freedom of speech is up here. Hate speech is underneath that umbrella. It might be way down here above religious. Well, I mean, some religious is hate speech as well. Of love speech, hip hop speech, whatever it is, street slang. So to separate them and then go, well, what will be considered hate speech? Because now we're talking about someone's opinion of what offends them and what is allowable to do that. But if you're out there saying after a family man, a deep state man, possibly a Freemason man, as it goes deeper, than what the surface level story is. If you're out there celebrating, look at me, I'm making a funny comment about this guy's death, and you're representing a company or you're a teacher at a school, now you're way too comfortable in the locker room. You absolutely can hold those opinions of rejoicing. Like tomorrow, if it was Bill Gates, tomorrow, if it was Fauci, like where is it going to go? And it very well could be that as well. So, and it could be Trump. It could be anybody. It could be you if you say the wrong thing on a podcast now or talk ill against the state of Israel or the Saudis. Like, how far is it going to go? So I do have a problem with the cancellation in that respect of like, this is going to send a message of no one can say what they want. Otherwise, there's going to be comebacks. Now, if you're on camera going, you need to stay in your house or lose your job because you didn't get your COVID vaccine, and they come back and hit you that way, to me, that's more karma than it is the banning of constitutional rights. But my leftist comedy writer friends are all hiding behind the guise of free speech is dead now. We can't do it. No, you could have spoke openly and punched both sides during COVID lockdowns and fucking every other thing. Instead, you wanted that fucking associate writer job. You wanted that lead writer at a Saturday Night Live job, and you fucking wrote the sketches that GE wanted you to write, and the other things hit the fucking cutting room floor, and you killed your own show. Saturday Night Live was not funny. Jimmy Kimmel is not funny to be weaponized. At one time when you guys were on, when Colbert was on Second City main stage, hilarious. A great performer. When he was even on Daily Show where he got his chops, he wasn't weaponized like that. He was smart and would fucking make people look ignorant in what it was in a very smart way. Not anymore, dude. So they deserve to get their nuts chopped. But guess what? They're sitting on $50 million each. So I don't fucking weep for them. Not even a little bit.
Alrighty. Next topic here. I found this to be interesting. This comes from China. Dystopian toilets won't give you toilet paper unless you watch an advertisement first, Ben. So paying to use a public bathroom, of course, is a new concept, with plenty of countries now charging an entrance fee to allow people to literally spend a penny. But these public toilets in China have taken the concept to new heights in a move described as dystopian by the anti-consumption subreddit. Some public bathrooms in China are forcing users to watch an advert in order to gain access to toilet paper. A video shared by China Insider showed a person scanning a QR code on the toilet roll dispenser and watching a short advert before a few squares of paper are dispensed. And if it's not enough paper or you don't want to watch another advert, you can pay about 7 cents to skip the ads. It's been claimed the system cuts down on waste, with authorities suggesting some people had been taking excessive amounts of free toilet paper. What do you think, Ben? Do you think that move is going to end up over here at some point where now you've got to have to watch advertisements to take a shit in a public bathroom?
If they control everything, they can control that, can't they? Corporate everything. However, I think the Chinese people may have already been broken to the fact of that, because what are you going to do when you got a fucking some of these 300, 400 pound heifers fucking going around Walmart every day? Like, they don't understand the dirtbag level culture of America. And you got to go in there and take a big hot muddy because you just fucking whacked down the Taco Bell Cantina Blast number 6. And you're fucking going to sit there for 40 minutes for 4 squares of toilet paper to pop out after each commercial. Like, someone's going to get, A, they're going to shit smear the thing, or B, they're going to stand up and fucking kick the shit out of the screen and then smash the fuck out of the toilet paper thing to open it up. That's what America does. We're not going to sit there, oh, yes, Tampax 4 sheets. Oh, yes, Kool-Aid. And some reserve, cause if you smash that motherfucker in China and Beijing before you probably got to the parking lot, your ass is going to be unpersoned and taken away, right? But you fucking go tell that to Elmer, Dale, and Big Mary after fucking they got a hot one brewing. It ain't going down like that in America. However, they have done it already of toilet paper Gone. I don't know. There's a shortage. No, there's not. You're lying and you're holding up the supply line, and this is a psychological operant conditioning test to see how people will respond with hate towards each other and fear of rushing to the store when we create a demand for something. There never was a toilet paper shortage. It's all a staged event. And this is the 1950s Nazi testing that I've put over that made it into all our marketing and everything we do commercial wise. And I don't doubt that they'll try it, and that there is a trial of that in China, but those people are far more subservient, and all you need to do is try these scumbags at a Walmart to make them watch that. Those fucking things will be broken day one.
Day one.
Day one issues. Yeah, then maybe it's time to invest in bidets. If they wanted to go that way and put that culture over, then they should. But then toilet paper companies go, no, we can't have that. We'll lose billions. So now we go into some dystopian. I can watch a Slim Jim commercial oos while you pump a grumpy. Like, this is where the fuck we are with these retards. And those are the people that should be doxxed. Who's coming up with these plans? Who's trying to enact these? Who's saying yes and selling these things to Walmart or wherever they're going to go? Those are the people that fucking truly should be canceled and are the evil on this earth, that are sitting around boardrooms deciding that that's what's good for the world, and that they're going to make money off of you by monetizing your human bodily functions. Whoever that is, don't dox them, don't kill them, but you want satire, you go buy 10,000 pounds of liquid fertilizer and you go to those fucking people's house and you shit spray their whole fucking house. They got to move. You ever smelled liquid fertilizer when it hits the fields right out of the gate?
It's not good.
You got to send a message. There's plenty of comedic, civilly disobedient ways to change this world without taking a human life. However, these people at these high positions who think this is fucking cute and that they can monetize the most regulated bodily function that is where you're at your weakest and most vulnerable, that's what they're going after. Guess what? You never get to sleep in your house again, and it's going to stink like shit forever. And until you pull that out, we're going to follow everybody on your board of directors. I'm sure there's a lot of farmers who'd be happy to give up some cow shit to ruin your life based on what you're trying to do to the world. You know? So those are the things I like to see, like a big old shit covered house in response.
Well, they've done that on an episode of South Park as well, where Cartman helps kids get back at their parents by smearing baby poop and tons of poop all over their homes. So South Park has predicted that. That's for sure.
Yeah, of course. How far is Ravens Joint from Oswego? About 22 miles, I think exactly. So, yeah, I mean, Oswego's got 2 dispensaries now, and so I don't get a lot over. Actually, I do get a from Oswego. Go, we come here just because we like your place the best. There's been so much love this week at Ravens Joint from, I think people hear it on the floor because someone will start saying something super nice where I'm just humble and thankful that my staff and we're doing what I think is a great job. And then the next person will come up and do the same gushing like thing. And then an hour will go by and then 3 or 4 more. So I feel like we've really trained our staff well in customer service, and that the atmosphere and the products that I'm showcasing are presented very well to my customers, along with great education too. So yeah, it's been a great week at Ravens Joint, man. That shit's super humbling after you put in 3 years on this now, and here we are. So but yeah, if you're coming up, Oswego is a cool place, but come to the joint.
Come to the joint. All right. Well, I mean, that's all the, I guess, headline topics I had there. Now I guess we can get into some wrestling headlines. There hasn't been too much here on the wrestling side that made me think this stands out or this was too controversial, but I have a bunch of different headlines here from No DQ.
Sure.
First one that pops up here is Brock Lesnar's involvement at WWE WrestlePalooza, and ESPN executives were asked about it. So they were asked about the fact that Brock Lesnar, while not specifically accused, he is part of this ongoing Vince McMahon sexual misconduct lawsuit. So what degree of involvement does ESPN have when it comes to talent, specifically in this case, Brock Lesnar? And the programming and acquisitions lead, Matt Kenny, and ESPN SVP JT Lasker were asked about it. Kenny said that for us, relationship with WWE is such where they have creative control. I think it's important to provide some context that we are distributors of the events. It's not all that dissimilar to other rights holders' relationships that we have, or we have relationships with the league. Obviously, a glove, stick, and ball league is a little bit different than combat sports world, as we would all appreciate. But in regard to our relationship with the WWE, they retain creative control, which, by the way, we're fine with because they have built an incredible business for a long period of time. For as much as I playfully talked about my WWE fandom at the top of the call, I don't need to be opening on what a script should be to WWE. We're excited about what they do, how they do it, and can't wait for Saturday. So a couple things I took away from that one right away was I playfully talked about my WWE fandom at the top of the call, which harkens back to you talking about how these your network executives are fans of professional wrestling. And
right there, they're done, dude. Bruce and fucking Paul go like this. They go, if you're just listening, I'm doing an eye bit. And that's it. You're on a conference call. They're not in the room. They came and see you. I was such a fan, dude. Snuka. They know they got you. They right there. It's over with, bro.
Yeah. That was the first thing that stuck out to me. The second thing was, do you believe, or is that, I guess, a proper response? Do you think that ESPN doesn't have some sort of say into the content that's being produced on their channel?
To me, it's this guy going, they've done it so great for years. Who am I to do it? Like he's trying to throw himself under the bus instead, which is really saying, hey, if they F up a little bit, it's on them. It's not on me. I didn't have any, stake in it, but you just paid 1.5 billion. So wouldn't you want stake in it? And the fact that you don't tells me what about this executive? He's a fanboy. He probably failed upwards, and now he's just happy to get to talk to Paul Heyman or whoever the fuck they're having him talk to, right? And yeah, we're gonna come to ESPN. We'll get who do you want pictures with? We'll send them over. Like, and now this guy's getting to play. My kids are gonna think I'm great because I got a Rhea Ripley selfie. Like, fucking, it's terrible, bro. And these are the people. And the other part of that, I would go, with Brock Lesnar's sexual misconduct allegations in the Vince McMahon lawsuit, why would you bring him back? A, and B, wasn't the executive producer of the show, Lee Fitting, released for also having sexual misconduct issues? Why would you, why is he still a part of that show? Wouldn't you not want to partner with them and make sure that he's not part of the equation? Instead, he's got his name on the fucking rolling credits. This is them being in the bubble thinking nothing's going to happen when the pendulum swings back, whether they can buy their way out of it until NDAs 1 through 18 drop. And then there's more and there's more and there's more. And then all those people will be replaced. As soon as you said this guy said he's a fanboy, it's exactly the fucking conversation I had with Fox. Right. And they're going, we're looking for positive solutions.
Yeah.
The positive solution was to let Eric Bischoff be a 6-month scapegoat and send Bray Wyatt over to the control room during his prime to take selfies with the production staff so they could expose the gimmick further. That's what your executive producer thought was the right move. Like that was more important than actually protecting the product. They don't care. They will fail upwards. They want the least amount of responsibility. They want to put it on them and go, this brand's been built for decades. All the people who built it are gone. And why? Because they were liabilities, because they were sexual predators. And you're still continuing on with it, bro. And now the people who are in charge of it don't know how to write a decent storyline, don't know how to take a character that has millions of dollars written on them like a Killer Cross and get over with it. Instead, they're more worried about heat in the locker room and FUs and being one of the 5 guys who stays on top until Saudi Arabia says, you know what? We'd like Undertaker versus Earthquake for WrestleMania this year. Oh, okay. Ribs on you. So lace them up, boys. One more run for to sell our souls to fucking Muhammad. Like this is the dark side of how we get our next $1 billion payday, is going into a country where we have to act like we're American patriots with a moral compass, but we all just sold the fuck out for the top dollar, dog. This isn't the same company. Not that the carny wrestling world ever had any integrity. It was damned from the fucking jump, and that's why we like it, because of the salaciousness, because of the politics, because of the 8th grade girl pettiness. And when what goes around comes around, man. So it'll be interesting to see if the pissgate with Brock is real, if they even have a plan to do anything with Brock past Cena. And no, they don't. So are you really invested in anything week to week? I gotta see it. Where's the story going? No. And this guy doesn't have any creative ability to offer any guidance along those lines. That's why the consultants are necessary, and why there's few and far of us who can actually do that job, who've been in this position of writing, performing, and influencing the upper brasses mentality. That's a very small group of people that can fit that mold.
All right, then. Well, moving on here, AEW news. So while speaking on the What Happened When podcast, AEW announcer Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson discussed the card for AEW's All Out 2025. Here's what he had to say in regards to the criticism of the matches. The critics are saying that we weren't going to have a good card. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we get one of those critics on here and have them book a card for us? See how they come up with one. I'm all for that. Find them. Bring them on. Have them book a card. And as we have them book a card, have them go fuck themselves too. How's that sound? What are your thoughts on Tony Schiavone saying that, or defending the AEW booking?
I don't really know how the booking's been lately, so I don't want to take a shot.
Well, the main event is Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher for the championship match for the title.
Okay. What's the heat?
There really isn't any, as far as I believe. Kyle Fletcher just came out like a couple weeks ago and as the TNT championship, and then challenged him, and Adam Page said okay.
So TNT champ. So we're doing Battle of the Belts, but that's about it, right? And is either title on the line, or is it just?
I think it's Adam Page's the world heavyweight titles on the
line. Yeah. Is that a draw with no heat? Not at all. The only thing I know about Kyle Fletcher is that Dave Meltzer wants to blow him and fucking buried Stevie. So that's what I'm sure he's a lovely young man who can do all kinds of dives.
But I think that you could book probably something better than what they're booking, right? You and 2CW crew?
I absolutely know we could. However, doesn't this conversation start out with let a fan book?
The critics.
Oh, the critics. Well, yeah, I'll book circles around everybody that they currently have on their staff. And if you were to add Josh and Strangler Steve in the mix, the Young Bucks would go, why didn't we do this from the beginning? So the guys that are your top guys are the guys we help make. So I have no doubt in my mind that I easily could outbook the entire 2CW AEW creative team. But that's because I have 20 years of experience in this shit, and Tony has 6. So are you going to have a fucking 6th grader go against a 12th grader? It's not like, haha, I'm better. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? So how many matches has TK had? None. So how are you going to, really be able to convey what that is, except from a fan's point of view? And Schiavone has decades and decades of experience, but how many things has he booked? I don't know. you know, like how many cards from top to bottom, and building the roller coaster that people need to take the ride on, why things make sense psychologically, what happens at the beginning influences the end, like what is the structure. Tony doesn't even know these things, you know, and if Shivani does, then why isn't he influencing his own boss to make a better show? But if you just want to go the critics and, you know, bury a JD from New York who has had a lot of heat with them, right? Like, I'm not getting that wrong. Like, I gotta believe it's shots like that at a Solo Monster or something like that. And, you know, Conrad's affable and he just puts it, well, let's let him come do it. Well, if you want critics like that to do it and put them on the fucking line, I understand that. But if you're talking about a talking head personality like myself, who's got plenty of in-ring experience and TV booking experience, well, I would gladly answer the call or challenge, what have you.
Sticking with AEW, a couple days ago, Ricochet sat down with Ariel Helwani, and during that interview, and I'm sure we've talked about this in the past, but he said, how the world is today, I feel like having a place like AEW, all those families and all those people who may not be able to afford to go to WWE can afford to come to our show, have a good time, and experience some new action, experience some new character, experience some new drama, and experience just an alternative to what has been going on for a long time. And then he also went on to say, so whether they're going to, and when he talked about WWE counter programming, whether they're going to counter program or not, I'm glad that AEW is around because the backstage is getting better and better. I think the stories, the drama is getting better. We're really trying to connect dots and really giving people something that's cohesive and something that at the end they can be proud they're watching the whole thing. You know what I mean? While at the same time giving you some of the best in-ring performances that you've ever seen. Because that's also what is important to us. And not that it's important to the other side, but I just think for us, we're a little crazy. We're a little loco. We want to go out there and do the craziest stuff that we can and really put our bodies on the line. So a couple things there. First off, him mentioning the fact that, which I think is probably a smart take, that they should be pushing more the fact that they are the alternative, that their content is a lot less expensive than WWE. And then also in the same breath, though, he talks about we're crazy, we're loco, we go out there and we do crazy stuff when we put our bodies on the line.
Yeah, it's dumb. You say our shows are action-packed. I put my body on the line is idiotic, especially when you're trying to compete for the family dollar. And you can show that you are a top-tier show with top-tier production value, absolutely. But you're trying to appeal to families, and families do not want to take their fucking 8-year-old to see Moxley do some fucking masturbatory bullshit because he wanted to reenact a scene from Reservoir Dogs. And because he's over, he gets to do as he wants. That's going to go, I'm never bringing my kids to this shit again. When the opportunity, marketing-wise, growth-wise, is to counter-program WWE's insane ticket prices, call them out on it, make your show a bit more family friendly, keep the sex, don't let Tony Storm can say cunt if she wants to. It's in her character. And we don't need that. Like somebody's going to be pissed about it or what have you, but so be it. So you're going to have some Karen go off, and that's not always the worst thing. You can get it on tape and fucking and get more value out of it. In fact, stage that. I would stage rage bait. But the fact is, we talked about this too on Master Shoot. He should be doing WrestleCon, KHAN or KAHN, however he spells it, that weekend, because all these indies are losing out on their moneymaker because WrestleMania's in Saudi. I told Josh, let's get a fucking plane and be the only indie in Saudi Arabia that week, and we'll run Thursday and then get out by Friday, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah. You know, like that, and that would be just mainly to pop Kevin Owens and the rest of the boys that 2CW came to Riyadh. They would probably help us get the deal done, is what I told him. He goes, might. But really he should be running New York City or Chicago as WrestleCon with all the indies, invite them, make WWE look like the greedy sellouts they are to a fucking foreign royal family that is now using what was once a beloved American product as nothing more than being pimped out by TKO, and put the heat on the upper brass how it should be, right? Instead of that, and for them juicing you and then selling out there. We're going to squeeze working class families. We're going to sell out to royalty. That's the business model, as opposed to what's the best storyline that makes the best show for people who've been watching this episodic thing and to find their lives through it, through decades of fucking dedicated viewership. How are we going to serve those people first? Nope. They're fucking 7th, 8th on the priority list of whoring this bitch out and cashing it in. Right. So, sorry. Original question was, how do we book this?
Yeah, I mean, from a business standpoint, it would make more sense for AEW to be pushing the fact that they are the cheaper alternative, right? But as you mentioned there, they have to then scale back some of the gruesome activity that they perform on their television channel, because why would
I would show
numbers?
the metric. I would go, this is what it costs for us to run a show one night with maybe not for them because they're probably way overpaying, but I would go, here's what the building costs. Here's what it is. Here's what we make from food. Here's what and we're only looking to make 5% profit on each show because we're a business and we got to survive. Schooner tuna. All that combined, divided by the amount of seats in this arena, means I can charge you $22 per seat on average. And don't even, after front rows and things along those lines. And do a cost breakdown analysis, and then do that next thing with WWE's right next to it and show that they are soaking you for thousands of dollars and percentages higher than what they need to be charging, and make them look bad. Show that your books are open, that we got to make a little profit, but these guys have gone way, way too far and they don't respect you. We do. And we're going to keep wrestling here during WrestleMania weekend. And we're doing this show. And now, you know what? No profit for this show. As a matter of fact, I'm giving you the lowest. So we just break even. And I want you to come to Chicago or New York to WrestleCon and spend your money with the indies you like, meet the superstars and legends who feed their families off of this too with these great fan interactions, and come and be part of the biggest wrestling fan conference in history. Make sure it's the biggest one ever, right? And we don't need WWE to do it and embolden the fans that way, dude.
All right. Last thing I've got here is, like I said, it's been a slow week when it comes to headlines.
But I'll tell you right now, Moxley versus Kyle Fletcher ain't going to get it as the main event for that, my God. Interesting.
So the last thing I had here was with another interview with Ariel Helwani. This came yesterday. Tori Wilson commented on kissing Vince McMahon while his wife Linda was standing right there. During an interview with Ariel Helwani, WWE former Hall of Famer Tori Wilson commented on kissing Vince McMahon when she debuted with the company in 2001. She said, quote, "It was obviously extremely intimidating working with Vince the first day and kissing Vince the first day. How do you handle that? Just like I handled everything else. Just felt someone push me on the back and just to do it. Kissing Vince was interesting because Linda was standing right there, kind of helping navigate it all. So I don't know if that made me feel better or more weird, but I was really just happy to have a big role on TV then." She also discussed times in WWE where she thought things went too far by saying the Judgment Day pay-per-view bikini contest against Sable. Originally, Vince wanted me to do hand paint on my boobs like Sable had done in the past. I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. Looking back, I've only seen myself in a thong bikini a few times out in front of the crowd. Those times really do make me kind of cringe. It just seems like a lot. Sometimes you can see kids in the crowd and just feel like this is wrong. So what are your thoughts on, I guess I already know where you're going to go with this, but what are your thoughts on Vince McMahon forcing Tori Wilson to kiss her on its first day on the job?
Yeah, everything's a test, right?
Yeah.
And Linda's standing right there, so he's also testing Linda, or is Linda into this weird shit? Into a reversed cornet situation. There's... Yeah, roll tape, Linda. You know, maybe she's got her own fucking goon collection of what she likes too. You've been in this shit for so long. You've covered up ring boy scandals. You've seen your husband gassed out of his mind, fucking making his, subservience do crazy shit on camera. But there's 19 NDAs. And Vince just had his 80th birthday party and his girlfriend was there. And you're still married to him. What are we talking about here? When if you were to break it down without the wrestling test and the perversion and everything else mixed in, at the end of the day, they would just paint it as, yeah, Linda's a top executive officer and this is a TV show and I'm doing a love scene. Like you and I as actors would approach it that way.
Right.
But you and I also don't have 19 NDAs with alleged rape cases of fecalphilia inside of our office and fucking hiring women for positions where we move them around the company only to be sexually abused on a daily basis. So like they'll paint it as it's just a TV show. We have integrity. Linda's fine with it. I'm just playing a character of Vince McMahon, the evil sexual boss. Oh, are you? I play the terrorist mastermind Saudi prince, but guess what? I'm not really controlling world events and OPEC prices at the same time. So they'll try and use that cover of it, and she kind of lays it out that way. But it's as weird and perverted as you think it truly is in your head. When it comes to bikini competitions, it's tough for me because I like sexy women. And,
I was gonna say, as a kid growing up, adolescent, teenager, those were some of my favorite segments.
Yeah, of course you're gonna beat meat to fucking hot chicks. That's what their value is. That's what they're supposed to be. 80s bikini competitions. That's where Vince it comes from. You know what I mean? And in the 90s of kind of a second freedom of expression, sexuality wise, that's what was going on then. Only to have that warp into a fake feminism that ends with wet ass pussy. It goes on. They've been selling pussy for a long time. Oldest profession. That's what it's called. Right. So, that, and even the Lysistrata, if you've ever read that, tells of men going to war and the women are tired of it and they all go celibate and cut them off in order to change the men's mind. So it's a powerful motivating factor. Sex sells. So when you've got these 20-something-year-old girls who are green as grass, you don't want to have them in the ring wrestling. Their appeal is their sexuality, right? And if we have 18 to 49-year-old tape trader masturbators, the same thing is going on. We have it with Booker T, a man in his late 50s, early 60s, going crazy because of the spot of NXT of this captive audience. It's a bullshit audience that comes to their little arena every week to get their own shit in as smart fans. Then we have 20-something women putting their asses on other girls' heads to do an inverted thing so Booker T can pop like he's an old man watching a dirty old man watching young girls do softcore porn. We're selling the same thing. We're just selling it in a fucking woke tee-hee kind of way where these girls go, I'm the best wrestler of all time. Can't even really speak English, most of them, but we're supposed to believe you're the one who's going to get over and that your wrestling is so great while we wait for you in your half-ass cutter shorts that with nude stockings underneath to give the illusion that I might see your real ass cheek or your vagina. I'm going to fucking get as close as I can and then do a simulated lesbian fucking tee-hee ha-ha move that doesn't really help further me, help make me win. It's just we get to a spot where everyone can go, it's the softcore porn, everybody. And then act like we're in another time or dimension where Tori Wilson was abused back then. But these girls, they have integrity and they really get it quicker than the guys do in the ring. But we're right back to close-up crotch shots. Let me see Liv's camel toe. Who got big fucking huge gimmicks to reinvent themselves? Like, it's the same shit, bro. So, like, to compare, well, it was that era versus this era. No, The same girls who were once La Mera Mera with a fucking half face paint, Mexican fucking Arriba, I'm got the Latino pride gimmick, or I'm fucking a goth, Marilyn Manson, it from AEW. Both those, one's cooking in her underwear, making fucking tacos while you can see her taco, and now the fucking Marilyn Manson girl's getting in shape, trying to do heavy eye makeup and promoting her OnlyFans. There is not a lot of space between pro wrestling and online whoring yourself out. They're very close. And even the girls at the top in pro wrestling still need that fix and have to go on Instagram to show cleavage, bikini shots, ass shots. And most of them are fucking married. So now you're selling your ass and for these nameless fans to get clicks, while your husband should be the one that gets to see that shit. And it's not, because you're making money off it and you're hooked on the dopamine hit that strangers are fucking beating off to you. But we got to treat you with integrity because you're the greatest women wrestler of all time. Sports Illustrated said so, or whatever. But then when they get accosted at a car with no security by a bunch of fucking weirdos who've never fucking really held a tit in their life, you go, why? Why is this happening to me? This is way beyond what should be going on. They want to have it both ways. They want to act like there's integrity. They want to be feminist, and they want to twerk to Cardi B. The last one is what you really are. A fucking piece of sex meat to be shown off. And congratulations, you can do a fucking Frankenstein or a tilt-a-whirl head scissor or whatever they say your stupid move is next. But you're only about 3 years away from starting your own OnlyFans. Oh, you were in the military, and then you're the Southern Belle, and you didn't put over who we wanted you to. So now what? Oh, I'm an empowered businesswoman, but I got to go on horseback in Daisy Dukes with my ass out to fucking get that dopamine hit that people still think I'm sexy. They still think I'm hot. I'm what, like, how am I supposed to respect these women just because they were on TV? You weren't. Like, they'd be on the street corner, most of them, looking for fucking cat calls because they need that dopamine hit like that, of that I'm still hot. And then when it's not that, they fucking go get Botox injected in their fucking face. Tell me I'm sexy. Yeah, you're fucking looking great, sweetheart. Like, they just think they can't stop with that addiction, but they want it both ways. Nope. We're all whores. We're all whores in wrestling, really. And nobody wants to fucking say it. And then afterwards, because you thought you won a phony title and people fucking had you all gassed up that it was going to last forever. But now you're making fucking grilled cheese in a thong in your kitchen.
I'm thinking about Linda McMahon hanging out in the corner smoking a cigarette while Vince is doing things to other women.
Yeah, maybe she's fucking dirty, just as dirty and fucked up as he is. And who's she been? I've said this before. Who's she been banging for 20 years while he's over here fucking pimping out whoever he can get his claws into?
I don't know, but I need to go find Linda McMahon.
That's what I'm saying, dog.
Maybe she needs a young man.
Yeah, they need that VPN for all the porn they're looking up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's all the headlines I've got for you. Light news this week besides the Jimmy Kimmel stuff. Vince, did you have anything? Vince, did you have anything else that you wanted to discuss today?
Yeah, pal. No, I think we definitely covered it. Obviously, Kimmel is today's 2 minutes of hate. Tomorrow, it's going to be somebody else that they get. I got to believe The View is in the target next because they're just, they were a propaganda wing at one side and now they got to be called on the other. It's just the way this crazy human nature works, is we pretend we're not animals and that we're an evolved society, but really we're just sex beasts at the end of the fucking day, with a crave for bloodlust and revenge over anybody who goes against our opinions. But who would go against us? Well, I'll tell you, because tonight I hopefully will be on K100 with Disco and Conan and Joe Feeney.
Allegedly,
if everything works out. So reviewing AEW and Raw, which I haven't watched AEW, but I'm sure we can rip through it, and we'll have plenty of discourse on other things. But
so they're gonna make you watch the 3-hour AEW episode that aired last night. 3 hours.
Definitely no. Nobody's making me do anything.
Okay.
I'll put it on in the gym and do my thing that way, and then come back and hopefully have a good time with those good brothers. It's always great to be invited on, even if there's heat with Vince and DI or whatever. At the end of the day, I worked hard to get to where I am in this shit, so to have the respect of my peers and to get in some argument where I'm going to be too confounded over pro wrestling, probably not going to happen to me in my life anymore. I've gotten to live it, do it, and I don't really need anybody else's approval. And I think that's what maybe they respect. So, and I obviously respect those that paved the way for me to enjoy this entertainment and to be a part of it. So even if it gets hot over Raw ratings and what's true and what isn't, who gives a fuck, man? We just want to make good content for the best wrestling fans in the HMG universe, So, and when we stop talking, when we cut our friends off, is not the way to go. Like if there is any Charlie Kirk message, it's keep the conversations going, because after that is hurt feelings or dangerous situations, So. Yeah, man. But we'll see how many times I get interrupted. And if not, I'll lay out and just be happy to represent HMG, you guys. So what else, Matty? Anything?
Yeah, you guys, you can just check out my podcast at South Park Pod on all podcast outlets. We just recorded episode 297. So we are inching closer to episode number 300. And you can also check out South Park Pod on YouTube. Unfortunately, this week there was no new episode of South Park. The guys, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, said they dropped the ball this week and weren't able to get an episode out, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Right, of
sure
course.
They did.
Everybody else is thinking it has something to do with the Charlie Kirk stuff. The Charlie Kirk episode was pulled out of rotation because they did a parody of Charlie Kirk a couple of episodes back, and Comedy Central and South Park Studios pulled it out of rotation on television. So that's another reason why it's good to have physical media or record things. So, because I still have the episodes. So, but
I think that's very, very smart of them. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, their controversy and the ability to use cartoons to get their point across is very smart. But
Charlie Kirk loved the episode. I mean, he ended up making the profile picture of Cartman him like afterwards.
Sure. But why? But maybe they're just good enough human beings. I don't know. I'm mad at Trey, but like that they know this would pour gas on a fire, right, and they don't want to be doing that. Like to me, that shows more integrity as an artist, a little bit, because in the Lost episode is also something, right? Right? Like if it never comes out and then 2 years later we release it, there's equity in it, and those guys seem smart enough when they're not fucked up on mushrooms to make a good decision. So
mushrooms and LSD.
Yeah, man, we could use some mushrooms this week for sure, across the board, to microdose everybody into a better mood. But hopefully today's Friday Locker Room on Thursday Ultra Kayfabe taping help alleviate some tensions or reinforce them. Churchy 420 says, is recreational weed legal in New York State? Jesus Christ, I hope so. Took me 3 years to get the license. Having a friend over from next year from Oz who will be happy to get some. Well, tell Ada BC to come see me, and I'll be happy to hook them up. You can go to ravensjoint.com and check out all the great New York State legal cannabis, recreational cannabis I have for sale. It's only got to be 21 to enter the store. Well, actually, you can bring your kids now. It's like a liquor store, but you got to be 21 to buy with valid ID. So come check me out, man. Clay, New York, Route 31. Leave us a 5-star rating on Google for Ravens Joint. Really appreciate that. And appreciate you, Maddie. That was a great talk, even though I was dragging ass this morning. I feel reinvigorated, speaking at a high level. You got my mind going, buddy. So thank you very much. And make sure you're checking out Matt's new movie,
Modern Folklore. You can check it out, coming out next month, October 17th, on all streaming services. So Amazon Prime, Google, or whatever, or else you purchase your movies.
Yeah, check it out. Now check out my new podcast, Tori Wilson, Thong Review 1997, here on Hameen Media Group. YOLO.
If you're not Caucasian, then leave. Mark Henry. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules around here, okay?